Software containerization, we've heard about it in the cloud data centers, that sort of thing, but, well, maybe it's coming to a home near you. Craig, why don't you talk about this new initiative from the Broadband Forum?
Yeah, so this was actually originated from our Service Provider Action Council. So these are members that are service providers only, who basically still wanted to solve the conundrum of how to offer new value-added services, containerized services, inside the residential gateway. So the key point here being is how do they keep adding value and new services inside the home across their broadband? And that's where it started from.
And this is really important. The thing that struck me is suddenly you don't necessarily need all the hardware that you once would need if you're a homeowner.
If you think about all the over-the-top services that are going into the house, you might have smart home hubs, you might have separate firewall gateways, you might have separate SD-WAN gateways themselves as well. If you could bring them and containerize that software into the service provider's residential gateway, think about the ecological benefits, reduced power, no need to do that, but also it brings value back to the service provider. It's their residential gateway. They can offer those services to third parties instead of it just being over the top.
So suddenly that becomes a platform as an app store, if you will.
How great would that be? How could every service provider have a Apple-like app store or a Google-like app store themselves that you just tick a box, it downloads a software container, and that service is live. Suddenly, they're competing with the big boys with their own app stores, which is broadband-related.
From a developer perspective, I would imagine they would like it because suddenly they don't have to deal with hardware.
This is it. First of all, you need a standards approach, that you know that you're building a containerized software gateway that's app-enabled, that the app stores, the third-party application providers don't have to do a lot of R&D work. The service provider themselves don't have to do a lot of R&D work. It's all been standardized. So you know it's going to work whether you're an OTT provider, the service provider, or the vendor of the residential gateway itself.
Now, from a security and from just a resource on the device, how do you manage that? Is that part of what you guys are figuring out?
Yeah, we've started. This is basically, we started with TR69, which was managing device management of the basic home gateway. We then introduced TR369, also known as USP, that managed not just the home gateway, but many devices behind it. Maybe IoT devices, maybe the world's the limit, basically. Now, if you can containerize it into software, we're eliminating the need for separate hardware, but it's still fundamentally part of TR181 and TR369 itself.
But you're taking care to protect that some new app doesn't overload the processor or whatever.
Yeah, this is the glory of containerization. Whether it's in the residential gateway or in the cloud, it's containerized by nature. It's stateful. So you update one part, one software container, it doesn't affect anything else inside that home gateway. Firmware additions, whatever. All you're doing is giving access to that one software container, nothing else.
So it remains very secure and...
Very secure, but also the ability that you can update a single service on the fly. So it's secure by nature, but you can also update any piece of firmware or any software application on the fly without bringing the service down in general.
That's excellent. So as far as progress, where do you see this in terms of standards and so forth and dates and so forth?
Yeah, we just kicked off. This is part of our bus group work. It's called WT492, which is the working text for it. We have got lots of vendors involved. We've got new residential gateway providers coming in on board and a lot of the ACS and software vendors. Where we're asking for is service providers to get involved in all as well. Tell us what you want. And then we can come together as a community, as well as third parties, Purple Foundation, RDK, Wi-Fi Allowance. We're all coming together as a community to make this a reality.
So I guess you can go from 1 billion things on ACS to tens of billions of things with this, huh?
Exactly that. Where's the limit? Where is the new service revenue coming from a service provider perspective? And can we therefore containerize it and put it on the residential gateway?
Excellent. Well, Craig, great catching up with you.
And you. Thank you.
Thanks.
Good to see you, Ken.
Likewise.